What is up, DCS Crew? I know that you probably saw that Blade West passed recently, and aside from that, there were announcements of a lot of new releases from a lot of different companies. I just happened to see that there were, a few releases from a particular company, Civivi in particular, at my table, and I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts about the current state of the company and what I think about their designs from when I saw them start, where I saw them originally and where they've come, how they're collaborating with people and stuff like that. So stay tuned. After the intro, we're going to go ahead and have a little discussion. Unfortunately, for right now, it's one way, pending your response in the comments below. But stay tuned. We'll go ahead and talk a little bit about Civivi. What is up, DCS Crew? Welcome back. And today we're looking at a couple knives from Civivi. They're from left to right. Let me just go ahead and name them out. This is the Dylan Mallory design called the Hadros. Let me go ahead and just show it to you really quick. Really nice design that has been in the works for quite some time. I actually did a video with Dylan on the prototype with this one. Speaking of prototypes, this is a prototype that I picked up at Blade Show East in 2020. This is the Lumi. This is a Justin Lundquist collaboration with Civivi. Cool thing about this, the day that these were being provided to people, I actually got to meet Misheard Knife Reviews, and I also got to meet Everyday Aaron. Two really nice people, two really great additions to, the EDC community. Like they say in Spanish, hace tiempo, for a good while, but they are growing. I mean, Everyday Aaron is a super nice guy. He was actually the one that helped me out with getting this, and then Misheard Knife Reviews. I mean, if you've ever seen his stuff, you'll know him as Aurora Knives and Gear as well, if I recall correctly. And he's working on a design. So super nice people. They were actually one of the reasons, one of the little story that I have behind the Lumi, which came out recently. Now, speaking of recent releases, you guys knew about the banter from Wii. This is the Civivi Baby Banter. Now, the Baby Banter is, in my opinion, Civivi's answer to a budget Spyderco Dragonfly. I think between you and I, Ben Peterson was a huge fan of that knife. It's super lightweight like this. This is about 2 ounces. It had VG10 steel, something like this in Nitro V. That's something nice and comparable. It's not as slicey because the blade is a little bit thicker, but, it has that, that size. It looks like it's a 5th pocket knife in size. And just so you can see, the Lumi isn't a very big knife, but even next to it, it's like still way smaller, as you can see. So it's meant to be, in my opinion, something more of like a Dragonfly, Spyderco Dragonfly 2 kind of a knife for Civivi. And I think that it'll sell pretty well because once it's deployed, because it is on bearings, you have that finger choil that's similar to the Dragonfly, and then you can just hold it this way, have a deep carry clip. It's not a wire clip. I like that a lot better with this. They did a few different things with this compared to the Wii variant, and I'll talk about it in its own individual video. But this is the Baby Banter. I got this actually straight from Seth after he came out of Blade West. I didn't attend, but right after the show was done, that Monday, I happened to go ahead and look at my mail, and I got a message saying, "Hey man, did you get anything in the mail?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a little something with a pocket clip that says Banter on it." And he goes, "My man." So there you go. Huge shout out to Seth and the Apex Passaround, because as soon as I'm done with the videos, they're going to the Apex Passaround. Speaking of which, I got this from the Apex Passaround. This is the Nox. This is yet another knife. This is one of Civivi's first frame lock folders. It's a steel frame lock with Nitro V steel. Really nice, blade stock is nice and thin, and you have this grind, which is not a full flat grind like, say, your average Spyderco. And particular, I'm not going to show it because there's no need to. This is a video about Civivi, but I mean, this grind is very nice for office tasks, that sort of thing, or even just a minor, EDC use. But the truth is, I kind of feel like with what you're getting here and the kind of use that they want to have for a good majority of their knives, frame lock might actually be overdoing it, being that it's steel also and it weighs the knife down. But you know, that's just my thoughts. I actually prefer something like G10 or micarta over, you know, a steel or even titanium. Call me crazy, but maybe it's because of the smooth surface. You know, something with a little bit of texture like these, or maybe even textured aluminum, textured titanium, textured steel. If it's a little bit lightweight, that's fine. This is just at the cusp of being not so lightweight, but the action is fantastic. It does run on bearings. It feels good in the hand, and it cuts even better when you have to use it. That is the Nox. Now, I wanted to show about those four because this is where we have come from the very, very beginning of Civivi, you know, just kind of opening up its lines and introducing its catalog to the Western market, you know, to kind of like come in as a bigger player. They were We Knife Company's budget brand. And at the beginning, believe it or not, they didn't have anything even close to the size of these knives. They didn't have anything even close to the steel options with these knives. They just basically had them in 9CR18 MOV, and they were basically the Sen cut that you see now. I don't know if you've seen that. If you have, check out Amazon Sen cut. That's actually the super ultra budget brand for Civivi, and then Civivi is the budget brand for We Knife Company. Now, I do like that they've done a couple of things. You know, they're fiddling around, trying to gauge a little bit of response from the public, and they've been doing that for years. And I really like that they've done that because that's something that a lot of companies just didn't have I don't know if the means to do it, but like, you know, the want to actually do it. They just want to go ahead and put out their designs and hope that they sell well because, you know, the EDC market is a fear of missing out type of society, and we need it now. We need it now. No, the truth is, it really may be that there's a language barrier and that some companies just don't realize it or just don't have somebody that they've hired that can go ahead and bridge that gap, like people like David Sun used to with companies like Kaiser, you know, Artisan with Russ, you know, and I think that We Knife Company has people that are available to be able to do that. And as a result, they've, you know, listened a little bit more to who they should be collaborating with, what steels that they should use, you know, the kind of style of knife that they're looking for the kind of market that buys some of their We knives, and that would want maybe something more budget to not have to use the We knife as much. Because I don't know why, but people have this notion where you buy a knife and it's worth a couple $100 and you're like, oh my gosh, it's, you know, I need to have it because it's so beautiful. And then you get it and you're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful, I can't use it. What's the point? It's a freaking knife. It's meant to be used. So at these price points, these are starting to get to the upper tier of what they would consider Civivi, but you're getting something that's a little bit more upper tier with regards to fit, finish, and, well, I don't know about fit, but definitely the finish. I mean, they do have different finishes now. It's no longer just a generic finish in D2 or 9CR. You got Nitro V, like I said before, 14C28N, you know, the 10CR 15 COMOV, something like that. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. All right. Yeah, survey says. All right, they gave it to me. So, now that being said, there's also the debacle with, you know, everything given the date of this recording. This is EDC in the time of COVID. I'm just going to say it like that. I'm not going to say it anymore. And, you know, there's a lot of resentment towards the Far East, the company that makes these knives. And I don't want to really talk about it too much because I don't want this video to get, you know, captured or whatever by YouTube. But there's unfortunately a limited number of companies in the US that manufacture good quality, consistent knives and are willing to go ahead and do OEM manufacturing, you know, original equipment manufacturing for designers like Justin Lundquist or Ben Peterson or Dylan Mallory. Unfortunately, you know, what they will do, first off, some of them just flat out say no because they don't have the capacity. They're running at max capacity as it is. They don't. There have been companies recently that have closed, like Southern Grind. They closed their factory down in Georgia. They're no longer there. They've been bought up by an arms company, and who knows what's going to happen to them. Maybe their stuff is going to go overseas. Maybe it's going to go to a factory that's close to where Civivi is. All I'm saying is that there's people who really want to make a difference in the community, and they have. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to do it through the means of, companies here in the U.S., and they've been able to do it in companies, from countries that represent companies like Civivi and and Kaiser, Riet. Who else? And that's just off the top of my head. Reich Knives. There's quite a few companies, Asian companies, I'll say it like that, that provide quality products. And this is, it's really carved a niche for itself with regards to budget. This is starting to get into the little upper tier budget, the little bougie budget, if you will. And they got some really good designs. Man, that hair didn't want to go away. So, at the end of the day, if you can get over the hurdle that these are not made in the U.S., but they are made with actual U.S. designers that have spoken with the company, and more importantly, a company that has listened to what you have said, people like me too, about knives, that U.S. companies just do not want to listen to, or they just don't have the tooling or the resources to be able to go and switch it out. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Buck. I'm talking about you, Medford. I'm talking about you, ZT. Most is ZT, because there's a little bit of fiddling around with that. Microtech and Protech and, Gerber's USA stuff and Spyderco's USA stuff and Golden. I'm talking about y'all, you guys are going to have to catch up, because companies like this are blowing you all out of the water with regards to the the budget market, and then they're forcing themselves into the budget upper tier market, and by then they're going to get to the market where you guys are at, and they're going to outsell you because they've already sold under you going to that point. So honestly, you need to look at stuff from Civivi. You need to look at stuff and really take for it pound for pound against a comparable USA knife. I get the fact that manufacturing is much cheaper and labor is much cheaper, and it's to the point where it's it's almost slavery. Let's face it. But we are looking all over the world where that happens. If we chose to get it in another place, they would probably do it the same way. The only reason why they don't do it for something like that here is because, unfortunately, it's not profitable. It's really not profitable, and that's the truth. You have to be running at a certain capacity and selling a certain amount for it to even be, a break-even campaign. And it sucks to have to say that, because that's an ugly truth that some people just don't want to say. In the meantime, for those who can't afford, a smock knife, or they can't afford something from Dirk Pinkerton or Justin Lundquist, or even, knives from Chris Reeve or, Rick Hinder or, Greg Medford's company. There's still budget lines that are out there, but you have your Cold Steel budget, you have some of your budget autos and knives from Kershaw. You have some stuff from, Spyderco, even from Buck, and some from Gerber. But they're not going to be able to go ahead and provide these people with a program and flexibility that some of these outer companies do. So they're being outsold at that budget level, and they're being outsold and being outplayed at their own game with their own players. So you got to hand it to a company that's doing that. It is what it is. I'm sorry this video is running a bit long. I guess if you enjoyed what I was saying, or you're sitting in the toilet and you were basically just listening to me rant this whole time, those were my thoughts about Civivi and the current state of their catalog and lineup. I think that it's very promising. I think that a lot of companies need to watch out, and I think you need to go ahead and take a closer look at them, literally, the next time you have a friend or you're by a place that has a Civivi or, newer catalog of Civivi in stock. My name is Carlos. You have been watching Daily Carry Solutions here on my YouTube channel. Feel free to go ahead and hit subscribe and like that video. See you guys next time. And just remember, whether it's a Civivi knife, whether it's just a, danky little Swiss Army knife, whether it's a Vero Synapse, if you EDC, think of DCS. Here's some videos to hold you off till the next upload. Take care, guys. Peace.